Here is a bell medium yoke, the central part of the rotor head. And if you have a look, you can see the 2.5 degree pre-cone angle built with the latch there. These are the two bearings that allow the feathering of the grip. And you'll notice if we take a closer look at this bearing, you can see that it's a needle type bearing. Here's the grip and the blade bolt. The blade bolt is going to transmit the load from the blade into the grip, and then the grip is going to transmit it into the strap, and the strap is going to put it into the yoke. The strap will twist in the feathering axis like this, and we have to be careful that it does not turn more than 90 degrees, because if it turns more than 90 degrees, it'll damage the little teeny wires that are in here. There's just tons and tons of little piano wire that's strapped around. That's what takes up the torsion loads and allows it to twist. Now each of these little wires, if they end up damaged, you end up having to replace these straps. And the straps, this is a strap, TT strap for a Bell 206. And here's another one that's been used, and you can see that it's a little bit discolored just from being in the grease inside the hub. And then you've got this one here, it's got some damage on it as well. You can see that it's twisted. So this one, the grip twisted more than 90 degrees in the yoke. And that's what causes it to leave that permanent twist to it. They are also, so these have about a 1,200 hour life limit, and at that point they're removed. So there's a couple different kinds that we have here. And they're basically Bell 204, 205, 212. And then all of a sudden here, this big guy, much bigger. This is from a Bell 214, and the Bell 214 has basically rotor blades the size of Cessna wings. Now this is the grip again, and we can see on the 206 this is the latch bolt or the strap bolt, and it holds the strap in place so that the grip stays on. And just take that and put it back in again, and that strap bolt is just going to slide right into that hole, and that's what holds it in. So the strap bolt and the strap itself are held into place on the yoke with this retainer, and the retainer goes inside the yoke right in there, and it's larger than the hole it sits in, so it can't fly out. The latch bolts are attached there, and the latches themselves stop the blades from doing any lead lag movements, because remember, this is a semi-rigid rotor head, so it stops lead lag. Now the bigger aircraft use drag braces to do the same thing as those latch bolts. The blade bolts themselves are installed into the grips, and they're hollow on the inside. That's to allow for weights so that we can balance the rotor head in the span-wise direction. This is the grip itself, and one of the things we want to avoid is the grip spreading. So anytime we put a blade in there, we have to be careful that we don't allow the grips to spread. And one of the ways we can do that is we can install the blade bolt, and then the nut itself down here, anytime we have the blade in, we install it tight enough so that it's just snug, so it stops it from spreading. Here's our pitch link. This here is our pitch horn arm assembly. Right? So this is how the pitch change mechanism comes in. So pitch horn, and inside this piece goes the trunnion, the pitch trunnion, and the pitch link attaches to that, which is going to take our inputs from the swash plate and transmit them up to the grip, and that's going to allow us to move in the feathering axis, just like this. On the top of the rotor head here, we have our trunnion, the main trunnion, and that's where we're going to get our teetering action from. And inside there, we have our drive splines, which are attached to the mast. Now, the trunnion pivots on these pillow blocks, and the pillow blocks have bearings in there, and the pillow block cover is got a grease zerk there, so we can apply grease into this area. And some of the older models have a oil filler, or an oil window there. And on the edge again here, there's another grease zerk. It's a different style with a needle type, and that's our rotor. Here's our, again, everything just a little bit plus size when we get to the bigger models. It's pretty neat how they just made a smaller version when they made the 206. This is our grip again from the big guy, the big 212. And here's our latch bolts. One of the important things about the latch bolts is when you install those, you want those latches to be vertical, as you see they are in this picture. It's one of the things that makes good engineers when you leave things in good condition. This is the underside of the rotor head, and you can see here's the static stops. So these are the static stops that are going to hit and cause mast bumping if you're not careful when you're flying the aircraft. During low G maneuvers, that's going to cause that to happen.